One singular sensation, every little step they take. One dimensional sensation, every little choice that they take. Yeah. Video reply to Fawn Trodden's question and statement he put out there about one dimensional players, basically. I mean, that's what I got from it. The players that want to do this one thing and only this one thing without explanation, without any forethought, and without any care for consequence. They just want to light something on fire, or they just want to be the badass. Well, that's kind of me. I'm that player, or at least that was part of the steps that I took to get to where I am as a player today. Um, it's a good thing. I mean, don't get me wrong. My problem is the exact opposite with people who don't know what to do and they're too afraid to do anything, let alone the one thing. But I would say for challenging those players, one of the comments on the video was to challenge your players. That's great. Sometimes challenging them doesn't always work, but it's great because the people who have it in them to be more than one dimensional, who want to do more than just cast fireball. Even though you have to admit, casting a fireball is quite an attractive proposition, especially in the supers game where you could use your powers. You have unlimited power, and you could just keep going and going and going. Which it sounds like that's where the problem most exists for you. I don't know, but challenging them is a great way, and being a manipulative little prick of a DM, that's a good way to just okay, being manipulative, maybe not a prick, using their personality traits against them, using the role play to sort of paint them in a corner at times. It's not going to work with everybody. There are people who really just don't care about the story or the role play in any way, shape, or form. They want to be the badass. They want to attack shit. Nothing unless you make them roll a fear check and they fail that fear check. They are never going to, voluntarily decide to play afraid, even if it doesn't affect their character mechanically. You're gonna have those people, and those people are gonna have to really paint them in a corner. But let's work up to that problem. For people who are one dimensional, they want to do their one thing, and they don't have why do you want to do this? Um, Use your own creativity and imagination to put something on them. That person who wants to burn something, they just want to light something on fire. Apparently, they must have some form of, you know, pyromaniac in them, either as a player or their character. Explore the fact, explore that fact yourself as a DM. Maybe throw in a flashback to their character, take away a little bit of their player agency, and see how they react. Do they react just by, stepping back and watching and listening to what you say? And if they do, maybe they'll be inspired to take that and run with it. Maybe you're giving them that extra dimension. They were one dimensional. You've now helped them to become two dimensional. And hopefully that they can take that and become three dimensional on their own. If they don't take it and run with it, maybe they will get that feeling, they'll get upset that you are taking their player agency away from them, even in the most smallest of senses, and go, no, my back history wouldn't be like that. You're a pyromaniac, right? All you want to do is get I'm a little bit of a pyromaniac, so I love getting fire people and burning stuff and throwing magic all over the place. But say they're a pyromaniac simply because they ask you, I want to set something on fire. Can I set something on fire? Yes, I can set something on fire. Oh, I'm so happy. Every chance I get, I'm going to set something on fire. Right? That's the player, and that's how they play their character, and that's very one-dimensional. And they have nothing else for that character. They have nothing else to give to your story. Well, I mean, the easiest fix is that character must be a pyromaniac. Throw a flashback in there somewhere. You know, um, make them a pyromaniac. Maybe they burned, little animals growing up and watch them die, or maybe, they have a scar on them that they hide, and tell them they have that scar, where they burned their own house down, and they almost lost their arm when they were a child, and they grew up disfigured and picked on, and just throw a little bit of that out there, and if they like it and run with it, then that's great. If they don't like it and they get an attitude because to them you've not, it wasn't that you were trying to add to their one dimensionality, that you were trying to take their player agency away or threatening their player agency. Maybe that'll spur them into acting, well, that's not my back history. No, that sucks. I wouldn't have done that. No, you see what I would have done, and have them engage in additional conversation and giving them, motivations or something in the past. And hopefully you can use that in a game later on. Oh, so that's your backstory, that's your motivation, and then be manipulative again and throw that into a game. Oh, so that wasn't your backstory where you burned little animals and houses, and maybe once killed a person by mistake, and you're driven into becoming a hero because you have that dark, deep-seated sin laden upon your soul, and you feel driven to correct yourself, but there's still this incessant need to burn things and light things aflame and watch the fires dance in your eyes, that you're trying to overcome this. If they don't like that, they're like, no, that's not my history, I've always been a good person. Then use it later on. Even if they go and run with it, oh, that's a really good history, wow, I didn't never thought of that. Then later on in the game, boom, maybe you paint the scene, just improv a little area in that scene for that one dimensional person that you're trying to get multi-dimensional, and go with it. Some people aren't going to roll with it either because they're just that one dimensional, and you got to live with that. They are searching. I don't know what all the ist terms are. Gamist, relevation. I don't know. I'm sorry, brother. Uh, but again, maybe they're one dimensional. They just want to do that one thing. They just want to play that one way, and they don't know how to play anything but that one way. That's a problem. If you everything you do cannot get them out of that, and you don't enjoy that, that's when you have to make that choice not to play with them. Let them know, listen, I like you, but this is how you play, and I don't feel that I'm comfortable as a DM to give you what you need, or give you the kind of game that you require. So I'm afraid that I'm not going to be inviting you to any further games. You got to make that call if it really bugs you, or you can just keep them in mind for a different type of game. I think you've already done that with me, me and Andrew, knowing that if you put us together, we're probably going to be chuckle fucks. And you use that to your own advantage. You were a manipulative little prick, so yay! But yeah, you got to do that. You got to do that. Hopefully, maybe you have that player that does that one thing. Put them with other players that you like. Maybe that'll be an inspiration. But having someone who wants to do one thing is better than having someone who doesn't know what they want to do at all. Trust me. I run into the player that wants to do one thing, asks one question: can I do this one thing? Is my character capable of doing this one thing? That could always be turned into a concept later on. People that have just accept the loot monkeys. Oh my god. But they're easy to manipulate. Just throw loot around, throw gold around, take it away later on. But yeah. Yeah, just these people, they want to do the one thing. They don't know what to do. I want to play a game just so I could use this voice. I don't know what I want to do with it, but I'll figure it out from there. It's if you can't tell, I need my coffee. It's early in the morning for me anyway. But yeah, point them to games with players who have performed in the kind of fashions that you enjoy as a DM, and see if that can inspire them to become more than one dimensional. You know, like speaking of Andrew, that one game, House Hojo, he didn't know what to do. He just decided he wanted to play freaking chess, you know, shogi and that era, right? And all he really did was play around with the idea of playing with shogi, and it was amazing. And it was one thing. You can't say that his desire or his ability or the fact that he was only just doing the one thing really was a bad thing. That seemed to be the core of his character, and then he sort of clicked with it and then ran with it and grew on top of that. But the biggest thing for me, both watching the game again and while I was playing, was that one thing, that one callback. You know, one thing I had fun with was when you ran the Itchers Bay game for us, the little low down, dirty thief type aspect of how I kind of ended up becoming, where I stole the pie from the window, and towards the end of the game, when if anybody's actually watching this, spoiler alert, go watch the Itchers Bay games by fruan Trodden. They're amazing. Uh, with that said, in the middle of the game where I stole the clothes off of the guy that we had just killed, that for me was fun. And that was one thing. That was that one thing, being just the low down, dirty, thieving bastard. That one thing can become a trope. It can become, a theme. It can become a hindrance, but everybody's got to handle it their own ways. I mean, maybe they don't know. I don't know. Maybe they don't know that they're one dimensional, or that they're taking something away from your game if that's the way you feel. But that's also the glory of this online gaming community. You can always find people that you're more comfortable running for, and that are comfortable playing with you and playing with the people in your groups. People who are more interested in sharing an experience, which, in my opinion, that's what tabletop gaming, tabletop, yeah, tabletop gaming in general, not just tabletop RPG gaming. It's a bunch of people getting together and sharing an experience. You know, these video games, though I like them, have poisoned our creativity and our ability to game with each other rather than against each other. Everyone, you know, MMOs are out there, and they've devolved into, only joining other people when they need help defeating a raid boss or going through a dungeon. And once that's done, they go off on their merry little ways. It's not a collective experience anymore. It's not a singular collective experience. As long as everybody buys into that singular collective experience, whether they're storytellers or not, this should always be, a great game unfolding, rather than a collection of singular experiences between players and DM. Am I getting reflective? Am I a reflectionist now? I need to look at a mirror. Can I see my reflection in my coffee? No, I'll look at my computer. That's good enough for being a reflection. Until then, I've been Nelson. This is Infinite Roleplay, and I hope you enjoyed the ramble, because I tend to do that. And maybe there was a pearl of wisdom in there or two. And to preempt you, SR2 Joker, that has nothing to do with a pearl necklace. All right, clean your mind, son. Clean your mind. Peace.